welcome to the news on NTA International. This news can be viewed on all the social media platforms displayed on your screen. I'm Lami Ali. Shegun Ajayi is on sign language. Let's now go for the headlines. Putin secures another 6-year term as Russia's president. Advocacy for more recycling as the world marks 2024 Global Recycling Day. And President Tinubu presents party's flag to Edo APC governorship standard bearer. President Bola Tinubu is expressing early hope from the signs he saw that the All Progressive Congress APC is looking good to win the forthcoming governorship election in Edo State. The president expressed confidence as he presented his party's flag to the standard bearer in the September election, Monday Okpebolo, and his running mate Dennis Idahosa at the State House. Our correspondent Musbah Danwahab reports.
Members of the All Progressive Congress APC in Edo State have a State House to meet with the head of the family. They are particularly coming out of controversies in choosing a standard bearer for the party. Yet, they believe a thorough house cleaning within the party is quite necessary. President Tinubu takes his neutral leadership role to finally put the house in order for the ultimate challenge ahead.
May I ask you, distinguished senator, are you happy? Honorable, are you happy? 100%. Okay. Are you determined? Are you? If you are, we are determined. We are going to work with you. We are going to stay with you like Rock of Gibraltar.
Clearly satisfied with the management of the issues, the president appreciated the state leadership of the party for their role in resolving the internal clash of stands in days leading to the emergence of the candidate and his running mate, which he believes has now put the party in good position for victory.
I am very glad of what you've done as party leaders, putting our house in order. To our candidate, thank you. To the running mate, thank you. That is here for you to make name in Nigerian politics. And I can assure you, we are with you.
The party is united because they all gave undertaking. They are unanimous. They are coming together to ensure that we win the election.
What has happened in Edo shows that Mr. President is a Democrat, is a voice for the voiceless. The primary in Edo was well contested and a winner emerged. We have our deputy now. We are setting the ball rolling.
With the party now apparently united in the state and strongly assured of support from the center, they say they are ready not only to take on the challenge, but to take over the heartbeat of the nation in the September 21st isolated election. From the State House, Musbah Danwahab, NTA News.
The United Kingdom has denied the rumors that King Charles III died on Sunday. A statement by Buckingham Palace said the king is alive, though receiving treatment for cancer. The king is expected to attend this year's Trooping the Colour as part of activities marking his birthday celebrations if his health allows it. Aides are already exploring ways to make King Charles take part within the constraints of his ongoing cancer treatments. This could include watching the military spectacular from a podium instead of on horseback as usual, having been driven from Buckingham Palace in a carriage as his late mother used to. Russian President Vladimir Putin says Russia will not be intimidated as he hails an election victory that paves the way for him to become the longest-serving Russian leader in more than 200 years. Chukunonso Nwabweze reports.
Vladimir Putin at a news conference at his campaign headquarters in Moscow early Monday, hours after polls closed, thanked all citizens of the country for their support and trust.
Выборов – это доверие со стороны граждан страны и их надежда на то, что мы все сделаем так, как запланировано. Хочу поблагодарить всех вас и всех граждан страны.
Putin further stated that no matter who or how much they want to intimidate us, no matter who or how much they want to suppress us, our will, our consciousness, no one has ever succeeded in anything like this in history. Official election data shows that with more than 99% of voting stations having submitted results, Putin has secured 87% of all votes cast. The three-day election was marked by a surge in deadly Ukrainian bombardments, incursions into Russian territory by pro-Kiev sabotage groups, and vandalism at polling stations. Kremlin had cast the ballots as a moment for Russians to throw their weight behind the full-scale military operation in Ukraine, where voting was also held in Russian-controlled territories. Meanwhile, key Russian allies, China, North Korea, Venezuela, and Myanmar have congratulated President Vladimir Putin on his election victory. The EU and the West, on the other hand, described Vladimir Putin's re-election for a new 6-year term as not free and fair, with the new opposition allegedly crushed and international observers absent.
This election has been based on repression and intimidation, and being held on the Ukrainian occupied territory, violating Ukrainian sovereignty.
Russia's election commission chief, Ella Pamfilova, on Monday hails the outcome of the election as record-breaking, with almost 76 million people voting for Putin. Chukunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol says fake news and disinformation based on artificial intelligence and digital technology are threats to democracy. This came as some officials attending the ongoing Global Summit for Democracy kicked against what they called malicious propaganda campaigns. Again, Chukunonso Nwabweze has the story.
Speaking at the opening of the Summit for Democracy in Seoul, the South Korean president said countries had a duty to share experiences and wisdom so that artificial intelligence and technology could be employed to promote democracy. Fake news and disinformation based on artificial intelligence and digital technology not only violates individual freedom and human rights, but also threatens democratic systems, he further stated. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who is attending the summit, also met South Korean Foreign Minister Choi Tae-yoo for discussions on boosting the alliance as Washington and Seoul look to improve their extended deterrence against North Korea, who fired multiple short-range ballistic missiles on Monday in what analysts said was a calculated move to grab attention of the U.S. Secretary of State.
Over the past 3 years, we have risen together to meet this challenge. More than 100 governments from every part of the world have committed to taking concrete action to strengthen and renew democracy, both in their countries, but also working together to tackle shared threats around the world. Authoritarian and repressive regimes deploy technologies to undermine democracy and human rights. We need to ensure that technology sustains and supports democratic values and norms.
South Korea is hosting the Third Summit for Democracy Conference, an initiative of U.S. President Joe Biden aimed at discussing ways to stop democratic backsliding and erosion of rights and freedoms. Chukunonso Nwabweze, NTN News.
Every year, the Earth produces billions of tons of natural resources. Scientists say at some point in the not-too-distant future, these will run out. For this reason, countries must think about what they throw away, seeing waste as resources and opportunities, not as a nuisance. Charles Alpha reports that this is being echoed as the world marks the 2024 Global Recycling Day with a focus on the need for more recycling.
Global Recycling Day is an annual event which aims to raise awareness of the importance of recycling and encourage people to take action to reduce waste and protect the environment. It also brings together individuals, organizations, and governments from around the world to promote sustainable practices and highlight the benefits of recycling to protect the planet for future generations. As the Earth's natural resources deplete at an alarming rate, the risk of exhaustion in the not-too-distant future is obvious. Therefore, the 2024 Global Recycling Day is putting the spotlight on recycling heroes, that is, people, places, businesses, and activities that showcase the importance of recycling for an environmentally stable planet and a greener future for all. Reports say recycling saves over 700 million tons in carbon emissions each year, with the figure projected to increase to 1 billion tons by 2030. In Nigeria, the Waste Management Society estimates that Nigeria generates about 65 million metric tons of waste yearly. However, only a fragment is collected, managed, and recycled. Furthermore, the value of recycling industry runs into billions of naira, and that is why the focus of this day is on ways to reduce waste, refuse items, and restore the health of the planet, while a common unified approach is the way to go to solve the problem. Reports also say if significant and rapid changes are not made, the world would experience continued rising of global temperatures, the melting of ice caps, continents on fire, and rapid deforestation with direct impact on humanity. Global Recycling Day was first celebrated on March 18, 2018 by the Global Recycling Foundation and recognized by the United Nations and celebrated across the globe. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Now, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, says it has so far invested $1.5 billion in intervention in Nigeria. Associate Vice President of IFAD, Dr. Donald Brown, says the UN agency's current portfolio in Nigeria stands at about $400 million. He further states that IFAD is committing about $110 million every 3 years. Dr. Brown added that during his engagement in Nigeria, he had high-level meetings with the authorities and is in confidence that the government is committed to food security. He says this visit aims to meet the new government and to review IFAD's support to the government and also plan the future direction and support of IFAD where it can provide such support.
We in IFAD, we raise our money through what we call our core replenishment process. Every 3 years, we go out and raise money from our member states like Nigeria. That money is immediately programmed into supporting the countries like Nigeria. The government in December, despite the economic hardships, made a very good pledge at our pledging conference. In fact, they increased it, which I think shows the commitment of the government and the depth of the partnership with IFAD. So I very much would like to thank them for that, as well as their commitment to also clear some of the arrears on the pledges. To me, that really shows how much they value IFAD, and we in IFAD have to rise to that and make sure we give really good service back to the government of Nigeria.
We need to work to get the most out of the funding, which is ensuring that all the implementation is done more efficiently. Why? When we invest efficiently, we can drive more results. So that is something that is really important, and we will continue to work on it.
This is the news at 7 on NTA International. Time now to take some messages. Do stay tuned.
Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, and Voice of Nigeria, VON, cordially invite the general public to its 18th annual Ramadan lecture. Topic: Family Dynamics, Rights and Obligations from the Islamic Perspective. Guest lecturer, Professor Ilyas Usman Ona, Department of Arabic, Nasarawa State University. Chairman of the occasion, His Royal Highness, Honorable Justice Muhammad Sidi Bagi, 1, Emir of Lafiyam Baribari. Special guest of honor, Muhammad Idris, Minister of Information and National Orientation. Royal Father of the Day, His Highness Malang Ahmad Nuhu Bamali, Emir of Zazzau. Chief Host, His Excellency Malang Ubasani, the Executive Governor, Kaduna State. Hosts, Malang Salihu Abdul Hamid Dembos, Director General NTA, Dr. Muhammad Bulama, Director General FRCN, Malang Jibril Baba Ndachi, Director General VON. Venue, Lumana Multipurpose Center, River Close, off Jabi Road East, off Sultan Road, Kaduna. Date 23rd March 2024. Time 9 a.m. Inshallah. For partnership, advert placement or sponsorship, call 080-3298-9963. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
You're welcome back. Enhanced food security can be achieved through water resource availability for all-year farming against just rain-fed farming. To actualize this, stakeholders have been called to make use of the information and data provided by the National Space Research and Development Agency at a two-day workshop with the theme Enhancing Food Security through Irrigation Farming in Nigeria, Understanding Patterns, Challenges and Opportunities. Haman Jabani reports.
To improve irrigation, it is necessary to promote the use of modern space technology, improve system performance, and enhance farmer skills in irrigation system. This, the National Space Research and Development Agency believes it is achievable with the number of information and data at its disposal for the user community. This gathering of stakeholders is to cascade some of these findings that will enhance food security in Nigeria.
Most countries that are today able to feed themselves, they are countries that are able to cultivate all year round and have integrated farming and also build in technology into what they are doing. And I think Nigeria is poised to do the same thing, especially when the information is vast for them.
And that's why it is very imperative for us to integrate and mainstream the cutting-edge technology from the space science and innovation.
Experts in the industry believes that the deployment of AI can scale up irrigation farming in Nigeria to significantly improve the country's food security situation.
How we develop the maps, combining it with satellite information to look at things at really fine scale, down to the field level, at what are the practices that farmers are adopting, what is their productivity, what are they growing, and which farmers may potentially require intervention in order to improve their productivity.
The farmer will now have opportunity of having access to produce all kinds of crops throughout the year. And with that, it means that on our shelf, we have availability of food, we have availability of raw material for industry, and we have availability of job.
The agency said with the numerous agriculture and water-related projects, stakeholders and farmers can rely on modern solutions and improve their life's quality, thereby addressing insecurity and hunger, among others. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Now, livestock breeders commend President Tinubu for the steps being taken to address farmers-herders conflicts in the country. They also appeal to the president to retain the National Commission for Nomadic Education as an agency under the Ministry of Education. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
Reports indicate that there has been reduction in the cases of farmers-herders conflict in the country when compared to years back. This was attributed to the steps being taken by the federal government and security agencies in the country. Cattle Breeders Association has therefore appealed to the government to do more, especially in the provision of social amenities in rural communities.
Federal and state government should create ministries of animal resources to enable the channeling of more resources towards developing the national livestock industry. to feed the nation's ever-growing population and to squarely address the food security issues.
In a communique at the end of a meeting in Abuja, National President Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Baba Usman Ingazarma, called on the President to retain National Commission for Nomadic Education in the implementation of Ronshanway report.
To consider as a necessity the retention of the National Commission for Nomadic Education as an agency of the Federal Ministry of Education with specialized mandate of ensuring the delivery of functional basic education to nomadic communities. This is in consideration of a research report of out-of-school children in Nigeria, that 8 million out of over 10 million out-of-school children in the country are pastoralist children. Therefore, not retaining the commission with sufficient funding to educate the children is an imminent danger to our dear nation.
The communique also urged the government to adopt a non-kinetic approach to ending banditry, kidnapping, and cattle rustling in rural communities. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
We move to the judiciary, where the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has dismissed the appeal brought before it by Felix Okonkwo, counsel to the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, over his alleged unlawful arrest and detention by the police and the Department of State Services. The three-man panel of justices of the appellate court, in a unanimous verdict read by Justice Okunabang, dismissed the appeal for lacking in merit and substance. Justice Abang held that the appellant failed to establish the alleged miscarriage of justice in the judgment of a High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, in the matter. The appellants, comprising Felix Okonkwo, Ikenna Chubuke, and Okafo Ugochukwu, had dragged the Nigeria Police Force and the DSS before the High Court for the enforcement of their fundamental human rights. They specifically alleged the two security agencies of violating their fundamental rights by their unlawful arrest and detention on September 27, 2021, during which they claimed they were tortured, harassed and intimidated while in the custody of the police. In his judgment, Justice Abang held that from the video footage tendered as exhibit by the appellants at the trial court, there was nowhere the operatives of the DSS were found at the scene of their arrest in the house of Ifeanyi Ejiofor in Anambra State. Now, 4 medical practitioners and Alliance Hospital Abuja have been arraigned before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory sitting in Zuba. The defendants pleaded not guilty to the 11 counts charge preferred against them by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. The 5 defendants were arraigned for their alleged involvement in human organ harvest. The presiding judge, Justice Keziah Gbonnaya, granted bail to all defendants with the warning for them to make themselves available for their trial. The court equally ordered the defendants to deposit their travel documents with the registrar of the court. The matter, which is a criminal one, has been adjourned to 6 May 2024 for the commencement of trial.
It is a case of, it is an allegation of organ harvesting. The doctor and his staff and one other persons been charged, as I said, 11 count charge. So we brought them here so that we can prosecute them. As you can see, they have pleaded not guilty, and that we apply for a date to prove our case. All right, we'll bring all our witnesses on that day.
Now, to end all forms of discrimination against women and children with disabilities and protect their fundamental human rights, gender and disability focal persons in MDAs have been exposed to adoptable models to be utilized to guarantee inclusion and safety. Elizabeth Omori reports that the training is at the instance of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
Globally, over 1 billion people experience some form of disability, and the United Nations says global prevalence is greater for women at 19%. This underscores the importance of this interactive session for focal persons in MDAs to be acquainted with social and human rights models to advance issues of disabilities.
From time to time, the focal persons will be, will be updated and will be trained and will be encouraged to pursue inclusion in their various ministries.
These models seek to address issues of accessibility, healthcare, stereotyping, unemployment, as well as protection of rights.
Most of the time, it is also very good to use these models as a way of aligning with what the act has said and begin to adopt it in our work, in our MDAs.
They say disability is everybody's responsibility, and government agencies should prioritize the interest of women with disabilities in order to build a healthy and inclusive civil service. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Time now for latest news from the world of sports.
In the ongoing African Games in Accra, Ghana, Nigeria's under-20 women national team, the Falconets, will on Tuesday take on their Ugandan counterparts in the semi-finals of the football event. Defending champions, the Falconets had beaten Morocco in their first match before thrashing Senegal 4-0 to reach the semi-finals. In boxing, Dillian White says he has been through a lot of hell after making a winning comeback to the ring in Ireland. The former WBC interim heavyweight champion secured his 30th career win when his opponent, Christian Hammer, failed to get off from the stool for the fourth round.
Good to be back, it's good for me and coach to be back out there and doing stuff. And we got a few things to work, not even a few things to work, and we just get back to work, we just got to get back to work. Obviously Hammer came out swinging and then the pit bull in me just bite back, And then I was rushing and making stupid mistakes, but whatever.
It is White's first boxing bout since clearing his name of doping offenses. It's Wimbledon in July. With Sports Update, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Let's now have a check on Tuesday's weather forecast. And that's the news at this time on NTA International. We thank you for watching. Shegun Ajayi has been the sign language interpreter, and I remain Lami Ali. Do have a good evening.